I thank the school and its management committee, the principal and the team of teachers for organizing this debate every year. And what really makes me very happy is to see the large number of teams that are participating. We had started off with 12, but we are down to 11 as of now. Maybe number 12 will turn up. So the two sides which are sitting here, for and against the motion, you represent the cricket team. There's a captain, I'm sure there's some people whose speaking style will resemble that of Anil Kumble. And there will be some who will be like Virat Kohli. Please don't be like Ajit Agarkar, who scored 5 zeros in a row. So we are hoping this will be a high-scoring debate. So if we are ready, can we start or? Yeah.
APJ has made a grand entry. Please come up on stage,
Oh wow,
participants.
lovely.
The VIPs always come just with time. APJ, on stage, please.
Let me remind you that you will be speaking for 3 minutes in all. At the end of 2 minutes, she will ring the bell. Even if the bell doesn't work, very often it doesn't, I will bang the table. And then you will end. You will be required to face one question at the end of your speech. Please remember the rule about questions. 2 rules. It should be shorter than the speech, and there should be a question mark in it. Please don't give a counter opinion. And number 3, it should relate to the speech. Like if I'm speaking of Shakespeare, you don't tell me you didn't mention Rabindranath. So it should relate to the speech. Otherwise your question falls flat and the answerer gets full marks. So debating is not just about speaking but also about listening. Because unless you listen, you can't ask your question relating to the speech. My humble suggestion to you is maybe you should write down, if all of you have a piece of paper in front, write down your question before you read it out, then you can understand how to ask a 20-25 second question so that the speaker who's there can answer it in 30 seconds or 40 seconds. That way we manage our time very well. So everybody's here, APJ, you're here?
Yes, I see a dozen
Okay,
participants on my left and a dozen participants on the right. They're all here.
When you start your speech, she will say start and you start only then. Is that, are all of you comfortable with that format, with these rules? You are being marked by judges, 2 very eminent judges who are in the front row. To convince them, and you have to convince them because this is a competitive debate, my advice to you is don't, look at them when you speak. Look at your opponents when you speak, but try to mesmerize the judges. That always helps. You will be marked on content, delivery, demeanor, language, and your question and answer, which is the rebuttal round. All of this adds up to 20 points each and a total of 100. Each team can score a maximum of 200 points. I'm sure the top 3 or 4 teams will be recognized, but congratulations to all of you for participating in this debate. And this I cannot resist, this is a personal question. For how many of you is this your first debate in public? First public debate. I think they deserve a special round of applause for coming out. Thank you for adopting debate as an action on a Friday morning. I'm so glad, I'm sure you'll have great days ahead of you. Ma'am? The reason why I like this debate is that your motions are always very specific. And this time also the motion is very specific, which says cloud seeding is the best option to resolve rainfall deficit in our country. You might find this a little unusual this morning since Bombay and Pune and much of Maharashtra is flooded. But nonetheless, this is a very specific, knowledge-driven motion. The purpose of any debate is to educate, to entertain, to provoke, and to convince. You have to convince speakers on this side, you will have to convince the speakers on that side that while they may be speaking sense, you're speaking a little more sense, and vice versa. At the same time, educate and provoke does not mean provoking in the nature of Indian legislatures, but provoking somebody to think and reconsider whatever you're saying. Okay? So, any questions from any of the participants? All comfortable? All of you are very tense, I can see. So, please smile, don't be so tense. This is just a debate. If you exceed the time limit, what will happen is that I will be reminding you again and again and interrupting your speech. So my suggestion is when the bell for the third minute goes, try to end your sentence there because the judges will also stop marking you. So whatever you're saying is an exercise in futility. So just say that, I had some more points, but my time is up, so I'm ending here. But finish the point that you've started in one or two sentences once the final bell goes. Right? Any other questions? I'm glad you asked the question. Thank you. Any other question? Okay.
I think we can begin because a little jittery. Their first time, so a little jittery.
I'm also jittery.
Oh my.
After 62 years sitting on a stage facing an audience, all of us suffer nervousness. So don't let it bother you. Just go and speak. Imagine that you're arguing with not a parent, not a teacher. That's very dangerous, but with a friend. The judges here are your friends. So please speak honestly. If you think that you've forgotten something, you can go back what you've just said before, and very often that helps you pick up the chain of thought. Instead of stopping right there and not doing anything at all, just say, if you remember, I said this a few minutes ago. So, my logical conclusion from that is to help you bring up it. Right? Ready? So, we'll start with the first speaker, ma'am. Thank you. So, Abhinav Bharati High School starts off first, and speaking for the motion is Lakshya Begani. You want to use the center mic or the... Yeah.
The year 2000, in a district in Punjab, a farmer took his own life. Why? His field was drought-stricken and he didn't have enough money to access all the water reservoirs. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this was not just the story of one, but 9,000 of our farmers in just 6 districts of Punjab in the 18 years that followed. Could we have saved all those lives? On that note, a very good morning to all present here. Today, we answer that question. A similar situation was seen in Tamil Nadu in the years 1980 to 1990. Despite the government spending 400 crores on subsidies to help the farmers with the drought situation, nothing helped. No other water conservation methods helped. But do you know what did? Cloud seeding. A method to make it rain artificially using chemical reagents as if we had the power of the gods in the palm of our hands. Now the opposition may question how cloud seeding is inefficient, how it's not cost effective, and how it may threat our environment. Let me ask you this. If cloud seeding really was inefficient, then why would governments all around the world choose to invest into it, leaving all the other scientifically proven to be efficient methods behind? The government of Karnataka did. Following the paths of Tamil Nadu, it chose to battle the 2003-2004 droughts using cloud seeding. And they got results sooner than ever, such that they continue to invest into it even now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to talk about the advantages, disadvantages, studies and theories, but we're here to talk about the results and solution, and that's what cloud seeding provides us with. Now the opposition may argue that it is not wise to hamper with the environment more to deal with calamities that were caused by our very own interference. But maybe to battle nature's wrath, we must harness its very essence, and that's exactly what cloud seeding proposes. We use chemical reagents like silver iodide to make the process of condensation faster in the clouds. Now that we think of it, it is not so much so of an interference rather an enhancement. Furthermore, the Desert Research Institute states that cloud seeding poses no potential threat or harm to our environment in any way whatsoever. The US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration also states that cloud seeding shows great potential with a current success rate of 10%. We need to understand that cloud seeding is a comparatively newer technology and will take a few years' time to be at its full potential. But even now, at its lesser version, it still gives us a better chance at fighting this deficit. In the end, it all comes down to this one simple question, ladies and gentlemen. What matters more to us? Keeping sight with the other cost-effective, efficient methods that rendered useless in the times of need, or actually having a shot at saving even 10% of those lives? Thank you very much.
Use that mic which is on your table.
You spoke about that farmers will be helped and they are dying due to drought conditions, but you also mentioned that cloud seeding harms the environment. So what will happen when those farmers, their children, are affected with skin diseases and respiratory issues due to that cloud seeding and excess accumulation of silver iodide?
Actually, cloud seeding does not harm the environment as of now. The usage of silver iodide is in such low concentrations that it feels like it's naturally present in the environment. It does not pose any potential threat or harm to our environment whatsoever.
Thank you. Thank you. Well answered, well spoken and well answered. Lakshya took us right into the heart of the matter, of the farmer suicides and of farm distress. That's one way of approaching this topic. There are many other ways. So I'm hoping that his teammate Swayam Sharma, also from Avinav Bharati, will adopt some other tag. Avinav, you can use this mic or that.
Hello. When you've lived prophecy for so long, the moment of revelation is a shock. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. The proposition believes that the rain deficit we face, as atonement for our own sins, that is climate change, can be remedied by tampering with the climate further. All of a sudden, this solution doesn't sound so miraculous anymore. It does sound pretty counterintuitive to me. Ladies and gentlemen, vanity, a sort of arrogance and a sort of belief that we can play God, has blinded the proposition. We are one of countless species that have come on this planet and hampered with the climate. Do we really think we hold that power? And I am here to give that revelation to all of you. Studies by the US National Academy of Sciences and the Wyoming Weather Modification Pilot Project have shown similar results, and that is that we can only augment the precipitation by a maximum of 3% in a season. Nonetheless, we did conduct cloud seeding in Tamil Nadu from 1983 to 94 to mitigate the drought, and also in Karnataka, like my teammate mentioned, and Maharashtra in the years 2003 and 2004. But here is what the Maharashtra Minister of Science and Technology had to say about it. I quote, "During 2004, the duration of the cloud seeding operation was 120 days. Expenditure incurred was 16 crores. It is not possible to comment on the effectiveness of this method. The department has no further project to develop cloud seeding at present." I don't think the government would want to waste 400 crores on subsidiaries when, according to the proposition, it could just spend 16 crores and make it rain willy-nilly and let it go away. Particularly concerningly, it is widely acknowledged that cloud seeding is least effective during drought conditions. Why, you may ask? Because the clouds do not have enough vapor. If they did, they would rain on their own. We are just providing nuclei. We cannot make water vapor out of thin air. I'm not sure how many of you know our soil is dying. We have depleted it of all organic content. Now stay with me. I'm not going off topic. The soil is now incapable of holding water. Studies in the UAE, in Dubai, where cloud seeding was conducted, have shown that urban flooding has increased, and that has been linked to these cloud seeding operations. Even in our country, all those places, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, have seen severe flooding after the cloud seeding operations. Not because it rained too much because of cloud seeding, it's because the monsoon did also come after the cloud seeding. It's like, do we have the patience to wait for a little monsoon? The proposition should understand that the issue we face is not whether cloud seeding is a decent option or not. It's a pretty decent option. The topic here is whether it is the best option for our country. Our country is the 7th largest country in the world, most climatically diverse. So one singular solution cannot be the best. It is irrational to say so.
You have to wind up now.
Oppenheimer was right, I guess. They won't fear it until they understand it. They won't understand it until they used it. Theory will only take you so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Question, do you have a question for me? Okay, right there. Use the mic if you want to, or you can share his mic.
You said that can we allow tampering? You said that can we allow tampering Earth further? So my question is, in 2011, Fukushima nuclear disaster took place. So it caused more havoc than what you said cloud seeding will. So why wouldn't cloud seeding be acknowledged as a potential help for our farmers? Because it's for a noble cause and not like nuclear disasters.
Thank you for your question. I think if we let people guilt trip us into spending money on solutions that are ineffective, we stray further from the cause. And I'm not arguing that cloud seeding is not a decent option. I've mentioned that in my speech. It is. It helps the farmers, so be it. But what are the consequences that follow? So you want us to not wait for a monsoon for a few months, and then whatever crops came because of our cloud seeding, you want us to wash those away in the floods? Is that what it was? I think, I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're from South Point School, right? Okay. And you're Swikriti, no? Sneha Jitsi. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Oh, right. So, completely different line, as I indicated. I'm so glad that you spoke in the way you did. I'm not saying which is better and which is not so good, but this desire to play God is a human condition. Many of us think we can do it. Let's see what our next speaker from APJ Park Street, Agnimitra Gupta. No, your name is?
Mr. Gupta, may I please interrupt?
Okay, so there's been a change of name.
No. The participant against the motion who spoke against the motion, from which school are you, dear? So the judges have objected to the fact that he had this sheet of paper
Yeah,
while
that
speaking.
is for them to know.
So this is just for your information, this is not to be allowed.
Okay.
No one is allowed to carry any sheet of paper while speaking.
Yes, please do not use notes.
Yes, I have
As I
been
said, look at
specially
the
asked by
judges.
the judges to mention it. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's why, remember I told you, look at the judges when you speak. They get very angry when you look at people. And Shayad Rahman. Shayad, please go up. Your name, I'm sorry, is wrongly mentioned here, so I announced a different name. Judges, please note that this is Shaykh Rahman from APJ Park Street. Not the name on your sheet.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning to all the teachers, dear students, my worthy opponents, and to all the respected judges. I am Shaykh Rahman from APJ School Park Street. Today, I stand before you to speak about the topic: is rain seeding the best solution to eradicate drought in our country? I stand for the motion, so obviously I accept it. Let us start from the basic. What is rain seeding? Obviously, rain seeding comes from cloud. So what are clouds? Clouds are basically tiny water particles condensed and vaporized. Now, what is the use of rain seeding? To rain. But how does rain seeding occur? Have you ever questioned yourself? Rain seeding basically occurs by indulging the clouds with halides and various particles like salt particles to condense it further on so that it becomes heavy and rains on the particular targeted area that are suffering from drought. Now, what is it required for? India is a country where 58% of its population depends only on agriculture and cultivation fields. So we know who is a farmer's best friend. Obviously rain. So in a country where rain is so important, I feel drought suffering places should be cured with this modification of weather. Coming to the next point, I know many are gonna speak on the thing that happened to Dubai, flooding due to excessive rain seeding. Let me pick up that point. It was actually due to the poor drainage system. Dubai is a place which does not have a proper drainage system because they never receive such rainfall. They don't have a facility for it. Now, is rain seeding actually good for us? If controlled in a measure with time and calculating the seasons, it can be very beneficial. In 1997, South Africa was suffering through excessive drought. It didn't have food to feed people. People were dying due to starvation. So the scientists came up with an idea to infuse flares with salt particles, and it was very fruitful result because we got a heavy rainfall of 50 centimeter cube, which was never seen in the 30 years of span. Also, lastly, I would like to conclude by saying we cannot replace what was naturally given to us, that is the true rain, but we can stand up and use the rain that was modified by human technology to cure and help us in the times of need. So what are you going to stand for? Wait and let people die during drought? Or are you going to eradicate it by the force of human technology? Thank you.
You actually ended a few seconds before his third minute. Yes, I can see a hand at the corner. The mic needs to go to the end of the table.
You twisted the topic a little bit and you believe that cloud seeding must be done to eradicate drought. But the topic today is to resolve rainfall deficit. What's your opinion?
Thank you for your question, but actually it is. India has never suffered from drought. India has. So rain seeding is indirectly, literally just eradicating drought. It's curing pollution. It's literally beneficial. So what to talk about it? As I said in my speech.
Thank you. Please take your seat. The best thing about debates is that every speech is like a new day at work. All of them, every speaker comes up with a new idea, a new concept, a new line of argument. And that's why nothing keeps me away from a debate. Speaking against Mr. Rahman will be Trisha Ghosh. Okay, Agnimitra. Judges, please note the speaker against is Agnimitra. Agnimitra Gupta.
Greetings and salutations to my respected teachers, my dear friends, my worthy opponents, and my revered judges. Today I am here to speak against the motion which is cloud seeding is the next big solution to solving rainfall deficiency in our country. I'm Agnimitra Gupta and I'm from ABJ School, Park Street, class 11. Now, we have always been introduced to this ideal that human technology has a never-ending mind and it can solve practically everything. But when we sit down and ask ourselves, can it? The great author Fyodor Dostoevsky actually said a quote that has stuck with me, and it applies to many different ideals in life. Let everything go to hell, but I must first have my cup of tea. This is the similar ideal that we seem to follow. We live in our own comfortable bubble, and obviously we don't seem to understand what our actions are when it has unintended consequences. Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique which is freezing tiny ice nuclei and sending it into certain types of sub-freezing clouds to help a cloud's ability to cause rain and quench drought. Cloud seeding has always been marketed as a sort of solution to solve one of humanity's biggest enemies that has been existing since the beginning of time, that is droughts. But we have no policy framework for cloud seeding. We don't know what consequences there will be if there is silver iodide that has been used. We have seen through deathly blizzards in China and severe flooding in the UK that obviously cloud seeding is not I suppose, perfect solution to any of this. And I repeat, cloud seeding has never been a perfect solution to solving drought because clouds do not have enough moisture to release. Humans live in such an arbitrary environment. We are used to relying on the government, and obviously this does denote a sort of political play if we see that cloud seeding is causing more consequences, more harm than it is causing good. We will never fully understand, but our next generations will, our children will. Once we are done and finished with solving current droughts, silver iodide may cause skin diseases, and obviously so instead of playing God and trying to fix our own issues, we should reconnect with Mother Earth. And instead of using techno-optimism, which is a belief that is deeply rooted in American culture, and has wormed our way to Asia, we should use and wait for rain to come, and we should solve our own problems at its root. Thank you.
Thank you. No, lot of questions. Yes, you can go. And you're from which school? Adya, yes.
Firstly, a very good morning to you. My first question to you, counter your opposition.
Not first, only question.
Is that, do you seem to have any better idea against, other than cloud seeding, to counter rainfall spacing?
Thank you for your question. It is a very good question. But while I do not have any other options other than simply waiting for rainfall and fixing the damage that humans have already done to our environment, cloud seeding is not an ideal fix because scientists seem to think so as well. There is a high degree of uncertainty. There is no policy framework. So why should we rely on human technology when we can simply fix the environment itself?
Take your seat. Thank you. And I like these speeches delivered by APJ Park Street because they have made an attempt to define the motion in some greater detail. But it does appear to me that there's a little disagreement coming up across the floor about the difference between drought and cloud seeding and rainfall deficit. So maybe it will be addressed at a later stage by our erudite speakers. And the next erudite speaker is from Carmel High School, and that is none other than Megha Mukherjee. No? Oh, I'm sorry, I should refer to this. That's Mohita Roy Burman, right? Mohita.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am Mohita Roy Burman from Carmel High School. Today I am here to present my views for the motion cloud seeding is the best option to resolve rain deficit in our country. Now what exactly is cloud seeding? Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique that introduces substances like silver iodide and calcium chloride to induce rainfall and precipitation from clouds depending on altitude. It's either rain or snow. In the past few years, climate change has proved to be a major issue, and India has faced the worst of climate change, especially in the year 2024. Droughts are quite prevalent and has been seen quite as a common occurrence in the arid regions of the country. The most obvious and immediate advantage of cloud seeding would be the increased precipitation. It fills up dried up reservoirs and lakes and rivers which have been impacted by the heat waves in these rain deficit regions. This thereby supplies water for agriculture, domestic, and industrial purposes, which were hampered by the prevalent droughts. Referencing to this, I would like to point out by targeting premature clouds in drought prone areas or drought affected areas, the rainfall can be controlled and not let it get excessive that it results in flooding, and it can bring relief to farmers and alleviate crop failure. This has been a point that has been pointed out by the previous speeches that we can wait for the rainfall. We can not interfere. We cannot play God and change or manipulate the natural process. Why are we waiting? Are we waiting for the crops to die? My next point would be it diversifies its water resources. It reduces our reliance on the traditional water sources as it harnesses already present atmospheric moisture and converts it into precipitation, which gives us a renewable source of fresh water. Dams and salination plants are another means, but they are also harmful to the environment, while cloud seeding is minimally invasive and also relatively environment friendly, as silver iodide, the main chemical which is used, is already present in the environment in a low concentration. So as long as the substance is monitored and moderated carefully, the concentration kept at a minimal level, there will be no disruptance in the natural ecosystem of the planet. Researchers have shown in Maharashtra and the Solapur region, scientists have even recommended cloud seeding as a solution for water scarcity and water availability in the arid regions. I would like to conclude
Please wind up.
I would like to conclude by saying cloud seeding is perhaps the most viable solution to resolve rain deficit in our country, as far as researchers have proved.
Okay, questions for her? You've already asked a question. I'll give somebody else a chance. Yes. Your name?
You said that desalination plants are not environment friendly. How come?
Desalination plants, they release a lot of toxic chemicals which end up in the rivers or lakes, which harm the aquatic life and even the wildlife near the salination plants.
That's a lot of scientific knowledge going across the floor. The expert judges will assess the veracity and relevance of that knowledge. Thank you. You may take your seat. And speaking against her from her school is none other than Megha Mukherjee. Judges, please note, Megha is speaking against and Mohita spoke for.
Good morning, my respected judges, teachers, and my fellow students. I am Megha Mukherjee of Carmel High School, and I am here to speak against the motion, cloud seeding is the best solution for rainfall deficit in our country. So, silver iodide, the primary chemical used in the process of cloud seeding, has a health hazard rating of 2 from the US-based National Fire Protection Association. Mishandling of silver iodide along with some of the other lesser used but still used chemicals in cloud seeding such as potassium iodide and liquid propane would set off a chain reaction of ecological damage that echoes across all ecosystems. The long-term effects of releasing such chemicals into the atmosphere are not yet fully understood. Therefore, it would be highly irresponsible to use the methods of cloud seeding indiscriminately. Cloud seeding can also be unpredictable, and if a region which is not equipped to handle heavy rainfall all of a sudden starts receiving rainfall, it may disrupt the ecological cycle that has been already existing in that particular area for the past few decades. Organisms which have adapted to the dry and arid lifestyle are suddenly drowned in liters of water, and it may alter the local weather patterns detrimentally. The process is also quite costly, with significant investment required in ongoing operations, aircrafts, and other infrastructure, making it an unfeasible option for the extremely arid regions which receive no funding from the government, where the average daily wage of the person living there is Rs 392 for men and only Rs 308 for women. Above all else, there are also ethical issues related to manipulating natural weather patterns. and legal disputes may arise in case of a region receiving excess rainfall and being the victim of a flash flood. In that case, who should be held responsible for the damage and the loss of life and property? Overdependence on this technology may also create over-reliance on this technology may also create a dependence, and that may divert focus from more sustainable methods to manage rainfall deficit. In conclusion, cloud seeding is a process that poses significant risks in relation to public health concerns, environmental disruption, and other ethical issues. Without further study being conducted on the process of cloud seeding and the chemicals used, it would be irresponsible to call it the best method for managing rainfall deficit in India. And more focus should be given to holistic and sustainable methods to manage rainfall deficit, such as the restoration of wetlands, soil moisture retention, afforestation, and rainwater harvesting.
Yes, you haven't asked a question, please.
Hello. My question for you is, in the beginning you said that the cloud seeding, if we perform it and then the natural rain happens and then it will harm the ecosystem. But what we can do in this situation? What we can do in this situation? Like, we can just wait for everything to get finished, the crops and all.
She's asking what are the other options.
Yes,
If you
what
don't
are
do
the other
cloud seeding,
options? How can we cope up with all these problems? Thank you.
As I mentioned at the very end of my speech, one of the primary solutions which is sustainable in the long term is to restore the natural wetlands which have contributed to rainfall and a healthy ecosystem for the past several years, but have been destroyed recently due to industrialism. That, along with afforestation, which can lead to healthier forests, will also boost the natural ecosystem by constant evapotranspiration and rainfall recycling done by the trees.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.